Welcome to Brewtok, the channel where caffeine meets comedy, science meets chaos, and your morning cup gets brutally honest. Addiction, culture, myths, memes, if it's brewed, we're talking about it. Because coffee isn't just a drink. It's a way of life. This is Brewtok. Grab your mug. Let's go, coffee cravings. We like to think they're about taste, about culture, about habit. But what if I told you your cravings are written in your DNA, not your morning routine, not your personality? Your genes, the literal code inside your cells. And spend the night staring at your ceiling like a haunted Victorian doll. This isn't imagination. This is biology. And here's the kicker. Scientists have found that specific genes, like CYP1A, decide how fast your body breaks down caffeine. If you've got the fast version of the gene, caffeine doesn't stay in your system long. Your body processes it like an efficient barista cleaning up after a rush. If you've got the slow version, caffeine lingers. It hangs out in your blood for hours. It's like the customer who won't leave the coffee shop at closing time. So when you crave coffee, or when coffee wrecks you, or when you can't live without it, that's not just lifestyle. Think about it. Your relationship with coffee was decided before you even tasted your first sip. Wild, right? So, how does DNA actually mess with your coffee cravings? Let's break it down without sounding like a biology textbook. Caffeine doesn't give you energy. It doesn't create energy. It just tricks your brain into thinking you're not tired. Normally, as the day goes on, your brain builds up this little molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine like a tiredness meter. Caffeine comes in and blocks those adenosine receptors. It's like putting a piece of tape over your brain's "you're tired" button. Suddenly, you feel awake, focused, even alive. But here's the twist. How long caffeine works depends on how quickly your body can break it down. That's where your liver and your genes come in. Inside your liver is a little enzyme called CYP1A. Think of it as the janitor that sweeps caffeine out of your system. If you've got the fast version of the janitor, caffeine gets cleaned up quickly. You drink a cup, you feel a buzz, and then poof, it's gone in a few hours. If you've got the slow version, caffeine hangs around. One cup at breakfast might still be whispering to your brain at bedtime. Now here's the kicker. You don't get to choose which janitor you got. Your parents handed it down to you in your DNA lottery. Some people process caffeine so fast they need 3 cups just to feel anything. Others process it so slow that 1 week tea makes their hands shake. This is why caffeine feels like magic for some and like poison for others. Scientists measure this in something called half-life. That's how long it takes your body to remove half the caffeine from your system. For fast metabolizers, the half-life might be 2-3 hours. For slow metabolizers, it can be 8-10 hours. Translation: your friend who orders a midnight espresso martini and sleeps like a baby, fast metabolizer. Because you had an iced latte at lunch, slow metabolizer. Same drink. Different DNA, completely different reality. And it's not just about sleep. Your caffeine metabolism also affects how much you crave coffee. Slow metabolizers feel caffeine hit harder, so they might crave it less. But when they do, it's intense. How much coffee do you need? Fast metabolizers burn through it quickly, so they often drink more cups just to keep up. Health risks. Believe it or not, studies show slow metabolizers who drink lots of coffee may be at higher risk for heart issues. Meanwhile, fast metabolizers might actually get protective benefits from regular coffee. So yeah, your DNA doesn't just decide your cravings. It decides whether coffee is secretly helping you or slowly plotting your downfall. Here's the wildest part. Your genes don't just affect how fast you break down caffeine. They also affect how much you like coffee. Some genes are linked to bitterness sensitivity. If you've got those variants, coffee tastes extra bitter, which means you might hate it, unless you drown it in sugar and milk. Other genes affect dopamine sensitivity, meaning caffeine gives some people an extra strong hit of pleasure. They don't just like coffee, they need it. So coffee cravings, not just a habit, not just culture, literally wired into your biology. The world of coffee drinkers is divided into two tribes, not latte vs black, not Starbucks versus indie cafe, but fast metabolizers and slow metabolizers. And once you know which tribe you're in, your whole coffee life suddenly makes sense. These are the caffeine speedrunners, the ones who chug an espresso and feel it for like 15 minutes. Fast metabolizers have the efficient janitor gene. Their liver sweeps caffeine out like a cleaning crew on double pay. And fall asleep at 10. Yes, it does, Brad. These people are often heavy coffee consumers. They don't drink 1 cup, they drink 5. Because their body metabolizes it so quickly, they actually need more to feel awake. And honestly, we kind of envy them. They live like caffeine gods. Midnight cappuccino, no problem. Afternoon cold brew, totally fine. The downside: sometimes coffee barely works. They're the people constantly upgrading to stronger brews, double shots, energy drinks, and eventually powders and pills just to feel human. Then there's the other side, the caffeine tortoises. And still feel it buzzing through their veins at midnight. Slow metabolizers have the lazy janitor gene. Their liver takes forever to clean up caffeine, so it lingers. What it looks like in real life. They can't drink coffee after lunch without regretting it. 1 cappuccino makes their hands shake. They might even avoid coffee altogether, not because they hate it, but because their body punishes them for it. These people are hypersensitive. For them, coffee isn't just a beverage. It's a controlled substance. They plan their whole day around whether they can afford a cup. The upside: they save money. They don't need 5 cups. 1 shot of espresso and they're wired for hours. The downside: they can feel left out. Coffee culture is everywhere, but they're stuck on decaf or tea, watching their fast metabolizer friends pound double lattes like water. Here's where it gets funny. Fast and slow metabolizers often end up as friends, roommates, or coworkers, and the misunderstandings are endless. The slow metabolizer says, "I literally can't. Cold brew and falls asleep mid-Netflix. They live in different worlds, but they share the same planet." But it's not just funny. There's a health twist too. Studies show that slow metabolizers who drink too much coffee are at higher risk for heart issues. Why? Because caffeine hangs around in their system longer, stressing their body. Fast metabolizers, on the other hand, might actually get protective benefits from coffee. Lower risk of heart disease, better endurance, even longer lifespan in some studies. So when your DNA decides your tribe, it's not just about cravings. It's about long-term health. Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a social ritual. But your DNA decides whether that ritual feels like heaven or torture. That's why the world is full of hilarious, awkward, and sometimes painful coffee culture clashes. We all know this person. And your friend, without hesitation, orders a double espresso. You stare at them in disbelief. "What are you doing?" They shrug. And then they do. They go home, brush their teeth, lay down, and snooze like a baby. Without triggering insomnia. Fast metabolizers treat coffee like water. Slow metabolizers treat it like a loaded gun. At the office. The fast metabolizers start another pot. They're laughing, buzzing, casually pouring cup number 5. But they also don't want to look boring. So they grab a mug of decaf and hope nobody notices. Coffee isn't just a beverage. It's peer pressure. Here's a scenario: a date at a coffee shop. Fast metabolizer orders a double cold brew, no problem. Slow metabolizer orders a matcha latte because they're secretly terrified of caffeine. 2 hours later, the fast metabolizer is totally normal, but the slow metabolizer is gripping the table like they're about to take off into orbit. It's not nerves. It's just caffeine. DNA sabotaging romance. In some families, coffee after dinner is sacred. A tradition. A ritual passed down through generations. If you're a slow metabolizer in one of those families, you know the pain. Fast metabolizers thrive in those households. Slow metabolizers suffer in silence. The culture clash isn't just about rituals. It's about how people judge each other. Fast metabolizers look at slow metabolizers and think, "You're so dramatic." Slow metabolizers look at fast metabolizers and think, "You're a monster." Both are wrong, both are right. It's DNA. But here's the twist. Slow metabolizers actually get one unexpected advantage. Because caffeine lingers longer in their system, they often save money. One coffee fuels them for hours. They don't need cup after cup after cup. Fast metabolizers, they're broke. They're keeping Starbucks in business single-handedly. So maybe it all balances out. When you realize your DNA is driving the clash, it changes everything. You stop judging. You stop comparing. You understand that the person who can drink espresso at midnight and sleep fine, and the person who gets wrecked by one sip are living in totally different biological universes. And neither of them chose it. At first glance, coffee feels like a choice. Do I drink it? Do I skip it? Do I order a latte or a black drip? But underneath all that choice is a truth most people never think about. Your relationship with coffee was wired into you before you ever took your first sip. DNA doesn't just decide your eye color or your height. It decides how you feel about the most popular drug in the world. Some people were born fast metabolizers, destined to drink espresso after dinner without consequences. Others were born slow metabolizers, cursed to lie awake after a single latte. And in between are millions of us, trying to balance culture, cravings, health, and habit, all because of a tiny gene in our liver. That's why coffee is more than a drink. It's an identity marker. The one always holding a cup, always suggesting a coffee run, always brewing another pot. Their body demands it, and culture rewards it. Not because they want to, but because their body punishes them otherwise. It's not a weakness. It's not preference. It's genetics. Here's the crazy part. We live in a world that worships productivity. Coffee has become the symbol of that worship. We wear it on shirts. We post it on Instagram. We build morning routines around it. But for millions, it's not about productivity. It's about survival. Your DNA decides whether coffee feels like fuel or like poison, whether it lifts you up or knocks you down. That's not control. That's chemistry. So the next time you crave coffee, don't beat yourself up. Because that's the truth. Your genes are part of the story. The way your body handles caffeine isn't moral or lazy. It's molecular. And once you see that, the shame disappears. But here's the hidden gift in all this. Once you understand your coffee DNA, you can play smarter. Fast metabolizers can lean into their tolerance but watch for dependency. Slow metabolizers can protect their sleep and their hearts by drinking less but savoring more. It's not about quitting. It's not about excess. It's about balance. That's the lesson coffee keeps teaching us. Not hustle, not grind. Balance. Zoom out for a second. Humanity itself runs on coffee. Entire empires, revolutions, and economies were built on beans. Wars were fought over trade routes. Cities were shaped by cafes. And all along, our DNA was quietly deciding how each of us fit into that caffeine-fueled story. That's the wildest part. Coffee isn't just cultural history, it's personal biology. So here's the truth, stripped down. Some people can drink coffee at midnight and sleep fine. Others get wrecked by one sip at lunch. Neither of them chose that. It's in their DNA. Coffee doesn't just wake us up, it reveals who we are. So the next time someone laughs and says, "Wow, you're so sensitive to caffeine," or brags, "Coffee doesn't even touch me," just smile. Because you know the secret, it's not willpower, it's not a habit, it's written in the code of your cells. And no matter which side of the coffee gene you're on, one thing is universal. We're all just trying to survive the day, one cup at a time.